Hey guys, tonight we drift to an ancient Egyptian village at sunrise, amidst gentle, surreal whispers of history. You step into the cool embrace of dawn, and as you wander along a path traced by the soft pulses of time, the ancient landscape unfurls before you like a watercolor, left to blend its hues, subtle blues and warm ochres, melding into a serene spectacle. The early light glimmers over the rippling surface of the Nile, its calm waters reflecting the promise of a day steeped in millennia of tradition and quiet wonder. You almost feel as if the gentle breeze itself is humming a lullaby passed down from those long-gone souls who built this world from sand and spirit. So, before you step deeper, first of all, welcome to Katha, the channel where history's whispers become your lullabies. This is the second video in this channel. If you spot any mistakes or if you have any suggestions at all, please drop them in the comments below. I would love to receive your feedback, and I'll make sure to improve in future videos. And I upload a new video every single day. Like the video and subscribe to our channel, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Drop your location and local time in the comments, where you're tuning in from. It's always fascinating to see who's joining us from around the world. Now dim the lights, maybe switch on a fan for that soft, soothing hum. Settle in, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. In this village, time seems to have a distinct, deliberate pace, a pace that has persisted since the days of the Old Kingdom. You notice that the rising sun casts long, elegant shadows, much like the majestic reliefs on the walls of ancient temples. It is a mainstream fact that these villages flourished by harnessing the life-giving waters of the Nile, a tactic that has been pivotal since the earliest chapters of Egyptian history. And as you become enveloped by the calm atmosphere, a quirky detail tickles your ear. There's a small, almost hidden niche of the village, where local elders still claim that a tiny statue of a scarab believed to be a guardian of personal transformation shifts its position ever so slowly throughout the day, as if it's following an ancient, mysterious logic. Historians still argue whether this behavior is due to careful positioning by the light, or a mere coincidence of the relic's placement, lending the scene a delightful spark of mystery. Your journey takes you past a low, winding lane, where the soft clatter of wooden carts echoes faintly, intermingling with the delicate notes of early morning prayers, uttered by a solitary figure near a weathered doorway. You meander through the streets, each step cushioned by the warmth of the sun-soaked earth and the softness of a morning that has yet to fully awaken. A sense of gentle disbelief flickers within you as you recall the modern world's frantic pace. Here, every moment is a small pause, a whisper of eternity. It almost seems that if you linger too long, you might forget the way back to the bustle of contemporary life, a thought that brings a knowing, wry smile to your lips. After all, you probably won't survive this intense relaxation. Moving further, the outer edge of the village opens to reveal a modest community garden, where the air is perfumed by a unique blend of wild herbs and the faint, robust aroma of freshly ground grain. The garden sits under an expansive sky, its endless blue punctuated by the slow dance of drifting clouds. As you pass by, you notice the care with which the villagers tend to their plots, a deliberate, almost meditative process that speaks to the intimate relationship between the people and this rejuvenating land. You might even catch a wink of humor from a friendly farmer who, between carefully pruning a stubborn vine, teases that even the gods themselves would envy such a meticulous routine. In the distance, the ancient river continues its graceful journey, hugging the curves of the fertile lands. Its banks are dotted with humble homes and shrines, whose faded carvings hint at rituals long forgotten, but not lost. You sense that every stone here, worn smooth by time and the persistent caress of water and wind, has quietly absorbed the stories of countless generations. It is as if the village itself is a living relic, a gentle repository of memory where each element, from the soft murmur of the river to the tender rustling of papyrus leaves used for making scrolls, is a note in an endless symphony. Your eyes are drawn to a weathered archway, standing like a silent greet amid the rambling structures. The archway frames a view of a modest temple courtyard where pilgrims once gathered to listen and reflect. The history is palpable here. You can almost see ancient priests moving slowly through the space, their voices a calm murmur under the vast sky. A light joke slips into your thoughts about how modern tourists might trample such delicate elegance if they weren't so mesmerized by the quiet beauty of the scene. It is a gentle reminder that even in the flow of centuries, the simplest details sustain the profound narratives of life. As the sun's light intensifies just a touch, you find yourself pausing before a small storehouse built to protect harvested grain. Its time-worn exterior is a testament to centuries of communal labor, a structure that has weathered storms and celebrated bountiful harvests alike. You feel a curious amusement at the thought that, in a world now obsessed with digital gadgets, these humble buildings remain steadfast as emblems of a past in which every handcrafted brick and every carefully arranged crop was a valued treasure. The morning continues, captured in an ambiance that is at once both ancient and achingly immediate. The interplay of light, texture, and sound forms a meditative experience. Even the distant crow of a bird, a modern reminder of nature's presence, blends effortlessly with the ancients' soft rhythms. In moments such as these, the beauty of the village transcends the boundaries of time. Mainstream history informs you of the grandeur of an enduring civilization, while quirky details invite playful speculation. And, of course, historians still argue whether the exact timing of these ancient routines was divinely orchestrated by the gods or merely the clever observation of nature's consistent patterns, lending an ever so slight air of debate to this otherwise peaceful morning. As your journey through the early hours unfolds, you continue along a dusty lane, lined with flora that seems almost too vibrant against the muted backdrop of the awakening village. The delicate interplay of shadow and light across simple architectural forms draws your gaze upward to the gentle curves and silent stories etched in every facade. With every measured step, you feel the weight of time gracefully lifting away the burdens of a modern world that often feels too swift, too impetuous. A soft chuckle escapes your lips at the thought of how, in this tranquil revival of history, even the mundane becomes magical. That one quirky shopkeeper, who claims to have kept a date palm growing in his modest courtyard solely because it reminded him of his youthful misadventures in a far-off desert town, seems to embody the humorous duality of life, a gentle blend of the ancient and the personal. His light-hearted banter, whispered in the early heat of the day, serves as both a solitary joke and a shared secret among those who appreciate the quiet marvels of time. By now, the first light of day renews its hold on you as an ever-present, soft companion on this path. The harmonious sounds of nature, a babbling brook meandering over smooth stones, a gentle rustling of palm fronds, and the faint murmur of welcome from long silent walls draw you deeper into the village's ancient embrace. And as the sun ascends steadily, you find yourself cradled by an environment that speaks in the soft, measured languages of history and human endeavor, inviting you to explore further the mysteries of a land where every moment is a treasured whisper. You continue to wander into a maze of narrow alleys, where the shadows of long-forgotten walls blend effortlessly with the soft emerging light. The village awakens slowly, as if by a gentle, ancient cue, a tender unfolding of daily chores and whispered greetings. You meander down a winding lane, cobbled with well-worn stones, each step evoking memories that drift like soft smoke among the relics of an age-old routine. Every building here, built from sun-baked mud and carefully stacked limestone, carries the warmth of centuries past. As you walk, the cool early morning air mingles with the faint aroma of freshly baked bread wafting out of a humble home, setting your senses adrift on a sea of nostalgia and quiet delight. In this quiet hour, life stirs with deliberate subtlety. A small group of villagers begins to gather near a weathered well, their voices low and familiar, punctuated occasionally by gentle laughter that blends with the ambient rustle of palm fronds. You notice a young woman carefully carrying a basket full of produce, her movements deliberate and graceful, as though she is performing a timeless dance. It almost seems that the mundane acts of daily existence weave a tapestry where each thread is imbued with stories of love, hardship, and the infinite patience of nature herself. As you pause in a shaded nook under a venerable fig tree, you observe an elderly man slowly polishing an ancient copper bowl. its surface reflecting the muted hues of dawn. Modern asides echo through your mind. Isn't it remarkable how time, in its gentle march, also carries humour? You recall that a few minutes earlier, a cheeky vendor had winked at passing onlookers, remarking that even the dust here seems to have a personality of its own. His unexpected modern banter reminds you that while history is eternal, the quirks of human behaviour remain forever amusing and endearingly current. Your steps lead you further along the labyrinthine alley, where a tapestry of old and new collides in soft symphony. In the distance, you catch sight of a doorway painted in faded blues and ochres, a subtle nod to the artistry of those who lived here long before the modern world spun its tales. The walls are adorned with murals that depict scenes of harvest and ritual. A mainstream historical fact echoes in every brushstroke. These ancient artworks were not mere decorations, but expressions of a community's heart and belief system. Near these vibrant images, you discover something even more peculiar, a fragment of graffiti, almost too modern in its crispness, artfully carved into a corner. It's a quirky reminder that even in an age of venerable tradition, the touch of contemporary creativity casually drifts into antiquity. You wander on, and as the sun rises higher, you feel every sound intensifying, a low murmur of conversation, the soft clanging of a metal tool in a nearby workshop, and even the occasional teasing chirp of a bird that seems to comment on the passing scene. You are drawn to a small courtyard where children, barefoot and laughing in the emerging light, play hide and seek amid ancient stone benches and overgrown gardens. Their joy brings a spark of modern delight into this historically draped tapestry, and you can't help but smile at the thought that some elements of life, mirth, innocence, and the zest for discovery remain timeless. The village seems to pulse with the slow rhythm of life's simple pleasures. You pass by a modest dwelling where a family gathers for an early meal. Their table is set with handmade pottery, and gentle chatter fills the air as they exchange warm greetings. In the midst of this scene, you detect a faint thread of scholarly debate. Historians still argue whether the precise techniques used to craft these vessels were designed by divine inspiration or by clever ingenuity born of necessity. It is this blend of the mysterious and the everyday that binds the ancient with the modern in a singular embrace of continuity. And every corner of this narrow pathway reveals small vignettes of daily life. A merchant carefully arranging baskets of dates and figs, an artisan delicately tying strips of papyrus for writing, and a group of friends sharing a light joke, their laughter as soft as the rustling leaves overhead. A gentle irony surfaces when you overhear a remark about how the morning dew could be the village's secret elixir for eternal youth, a humorous nod to the timeless wish for rejuvenation that transcends generations. These whispered modern asides invite you to chuckle softly while you remain immersed in the flow of ancient time. As you move along, the tactile sensation of the cool stone underfoot and the rough texture of ancient walls under your fingertips provide a steady grounding in the here and now. A subtle vibrancy pulses in the air, one that is both a celebration of the past and a wink at the modern observer. You note that even in the quiet awakening of this village, there are playful controversies. Historians still argue whether the layout of the alleys was intentionally designed to enhance spiritual harmony or merely a happy accident of organic urban evolution. This unresolved debate adds a layer of delightful mystery to the mundane beauty of the scenery. Near the centre of the village, you discover a small, open-air courtyard, its rim lined with flourishing potted plants and modest stone benches that exude a comforting simplicity. Here, a local storyteller sits in the soft morning light, recounting tales with a hint of modern irony, stories of the gods, of mortal folly, and of the timeless balance between destiny and chance. His voice, smooth and measured, rolls through the air like a slow river, inviting you to listen deeply, to feel each syllable as a gentle caress. The stories he tells are woven with threads of mainstream historical fact, the precise construction of temples and the rituals of worship, as well as with quirky, sometimes unexpected anecdotes about village superstitions. You let the storyteller's words wash over you, while you envision the layers of tradition and the gentle interplay between old-world solemnity and new-world humor. Every line of his narrative, every nuanced pause punctuated by soft laughter, reminds you that history, no matter how ancient, is infused with the breath of humanity's everyday spirit. You are gently led to believe, here in these unhurried moments, even the smallest details have grand significance. A patch of moss on a stone wall, the faint imprint of ancient footsteps, or a tender call exchanged between a parent and child echoing through the alleys. As your journey continues through this awakening village, you feel an almost imperceptible, yet profound connection between your own present and the myriad layers of memory that surround you. The rhythmic cadence of daily routines, the soft interplay of light and shadow, and the delicate balance of ancient rituals against the backdrop of modern wit create a landscape that is at once timeless and familiar. You are softly reminded that even as you roam these winding paths, there exists a deep unspoken bond, an enduring dialogue between history and the present, between the weight of bygone eras and the light-hearted breaths of the current day. Every detail here, from the subtle shift of light across weathered stone to the playful nod of a vendor who hints that even the wind might carry a secret joke, speaks to you as if it were a personal lullaby. The street, lined with remnants of a storied past and new whispers of human laughter, encourages you to slow down and savor every peaceful moment. In this small, illuminated world, you become an integral part of the ancient narrative, a quiet participant in the daily ritual of life, where modern asides and age-old customs coalesce in a harmonious embrace. As you close your eyes just for a moment, the gentle melodies of the awakening village continue to weave their quiet magic around you, leaving you with a serene assurance that these weeding alleys, these soft voices of yesterday and today, will guide you gently deeper into the heart of a timeless experience. The village, in its calm embrace, carries you forward on a journey marked by tenderness, subtle humour, and an unyielding commitment to the beauty of every unhurried heartbeat. You step into the gentle bustle of the village marketplace, where the quiet murmur of commerce intermingles with the soft cadence of history. Here, you find yourself among a tapestry of stalls and open-air shops, each one a microcosm of ancient trade and everyday ritual. The market is alive yet serene, as vendors and customers exchange goods and stories in hushed tones and measured pauses, their voices blending like distant echoes of a long-forgotten lullaby. The air is rich with the fragrance of spiced incense, fresh produce, and the subtle tang of papyrus scrolls, all merging to create an atmosphere that is both timeless and incredibly present. As you wander along the dusty pathways between the market stalls, you notice the intricate details of everyday transactions. A vendor with a kindly smile offers you a taste of ripened figs, their sweetness enhanced by the sun's soft glow. The figs remind you of mainstream historical facts. These fruits have been a staple of the Egyptian diet for millennia, prized not only for their flavor, but also for their nourishing qualities. Nearby, another merchant, whose gaze is as gentle as the earth beneath your feet, carefully measures out grain, a commodity that once formed the backbone of local trade and was often used as a form of currency. His hands, weathered by years of dedicated labor, move slowly over the small sacks as he calibrates his wares with an artisan's precision. In one corner of the market, you catch sight of a stall draped in faded blue cloth, where an elderly woman arranges delicate pottery with steady care. Each piece, adorned with subtle hieroglyphs and painted in soft pastels, seems to hold within it a whisper of familial heritage and the enduring practices of communal artistry. This woman, with a twinkle of humour hidden beneath her serene smile, casually jokes that one of her pots is so ancient it might very well be older than some of the gods. Her offhand remark carries the light sarcasm and playful irony that laces through the day, and you can almost hear the amused laughter of those in on the joke. As your gaze travels further, you approach a small stall that appears slightly out of place amid the orderly rows, a cluster of curiosities displayed in a charming chaos. Here, the quirky and eccentric side of the marketplace reveals itself. Among the artifacts, you spot a tiny, intricately carved amulet in the shape of a scarab. It is said that this particular charm mimics the slow turn of the heavens above, a subtle nod to the ancient Egyptians' belief in divine guardianship. A local youth, tending this stall, remarks with a wry smile that he sometimes wonders if the amulet is only a clever prop to attract tourists, rather than a genuine relic of superstition. Historians still argue whether such items were imbued with real mystical power, or merely crafted as a reflection of the era's imaginative spirit, and this debate adds a curious juxtaposition to the soft commerce unfolding before you. In the midst of the subtle exchanges, you sense a rhythm in the market that mirrors a delicate dance. The voices, though soft, carry distinct personalities, each one a gentle reminder that history is as much about individual lives as it is about grand events. One merchant, offering fragrant bundles of woven herbs, recites in a quiet, deliberate tone a passage about the healing properties of these plants, a mainstream fact that the ancients revered nature's pharmacy. His words drift into the air, wrapping around you like a benign spell. Just a few feet away, a cluster of traders share a brief, knowing chuckle over a recent misadventure involving a misprinted papyrus scroll containing a quirky misquote of an ancient proverb. This small burst of humor, amid the solemnity of trade, underscores the timeless nature of human folly. The marketplace, with its slow, methodical dealings, seems to breathe as a living memory of the past. You see a beautifully hand-painted sign demarcating a section where textiles are sold. The fabrics, soft to the touch and adorned with intricate patterns, evoke both the dignity of ancient craftsmanship and the modern appreciation for slow, deliberate artistry. A vendor, with the soft cadence of someone who has spent his life in this trade, explains that the dye used for these fabrics was once extracted from a rare flower, believed to bring dreams to those who slept beneath its scent. His statement, though cloaked in gentle mystery, is laced with the unmistakable air of a genuine historical anecdote, a fact that has been passed down through the generations, with both reverence and a touch of whimsy. As you drift deeper into the market, the clamour of subdued negotiation is punctuated by moments of intimacy. You witness a small group gathered around an aged scribe, who sits calmly under the dappled light of a palm frond canopy. The scribe, with his steady hand and calm demeanour, meticulously copies important documents on sheets of papyrus. His work is a testament to the village's commitment to preserving its legacy, and you feel a gentle solidarity with the countless lives that have contributed to this enduring tradition. In a light-hearted aside, one onlooker mentions that the scribe's quill never seems to run out of ink, teasing that perhaps magic is at work or simply that great care is taken to maintain the supposed fountain of creativity. Historians still argue whether such marvels of workmanship can be ascribed to divine intervention or human perseverance, a debate that gently lingers like the aftertaste of a fine, forgotten wine. Every step through the market is a discovery of the subtle, interconnected threads that weave together the fabric of daily life. You are drawn to a stand where a group of women exchanges gently whispered recipes for a local bread known to have been prepared in the same unhurried manner since the earliest days of the village. The aroma of freshly baked bread mingles with the faint scent of roasted chickpeas, wrapping around you in a comforting embrace. The women speak in soft voices, their words a mix of time-honored tradition and the occasional modern quip about how their recipes could outlast even the mightiest pyramids. Their dialogue, rich with both documented fact and delightful anecdote, assures you that even the simplest of culinary arts is steeped in history. The market itself is more than a mere place of commerce. It is a vibrant archive of human endeavour. Each stall, every softly spoken interaction, offers you a glimpse into the lives of those who have walked this earth for thousands of years. You notice that even the smallest gesture, such as the courteous nod of a merchant as he arranges his goods, carries the weight of centuries of tradition and the subtle humour of modern reality. Occasionally, a stray remark about the unpredictability of the morning breeze, or the ironic luck of a misplaced artifact reminds you that life here is a seamless blend of earnest continuity and playful spontaneity. Wandering among the myriad sounds and scents, you are gently enveloped by an unparalleled sense of community and connectivity. The market, in its quiet chaos, is not a place of hurried transactions, but rather a sanctuary where each whispered exchange is a brushstroke on the canvas of history. Its soft murmurs and measured laughter invite you to slow down and immerse yourself completely in its timeless narrative, a narrative that both comforts and amuses. You pause, reflecting on the significance of these moments, and feel the gentle pull of the ancient world mingling with the present, a soft echo of life that has remained resilient through the ages. Every detail, from the steady rhythm of conversation to the delicate dance of light across worn stone surfaces, speaks directly to you. You savor the experience, acknowledging that the market is a delicate equilibrium where mainstream historical facts, quirky tidbits, and open scholarly debates converge. Historians still argue whether the market layout itself was a product of deliberate design or the mere congregation of practicality, a debate that lingers like a soft whisper behind the lively exchanges. In this space, as you absorb each moment, you become one with the living tapestry of the village. Each subtle laughter, each measured word, becomes a part of the gentle symphony that guides you deeper into a world where the boundaries of time dissolve. The soft, overlapping voices and muted conversations create a harmonic cadence, a lullaby of trade and tradition that encourages you to relax and let the rich echoes of history cradle you gently onward. You wander further into the village, where the beating heart of daily life is found in the quiet routines of communal tasks and age-old craft. Here, you become part of a tapestry woven with the care of many generations, a living narrative that unfolds in the simplicity of each shared labor. Under the soft morning light, you notice people gathering around small clusters of homes, their actions deliberate and measured, each gesture signifying an unspoken commitment to traditions that have been passed down like treasured secrets. In the cool shade of a weathered courtyard, you join a group of villagers preparing to work together on a communal project, fashioning everyday tools from materials that were once abundant in this ancient land. The rhythmic sound of chisels against smooth stone, the gentle rustling of hands kneading dough for local bread, and even the soft chatter of friends catching up on news remind you that every task here has its own song, its own pulse in the symphony of history. As you listen, you can almost hear the ancient calls carried by the breeze, echoing the life that continues in quiet persistence. The village craftsmen are at work, their faces serene as their hands move with practiced ease, performing tasks that have remained largely unchanged for centuries. You see a potter delicately shaping clay on his wheel, his fingers smoothing out imperfections with a touch that feels almost reverent. It's a mainstream historical fact that pottery was not only a means of crafting vessels for everyday use, but also a language of art and communication in ancient Egypt. The clay, mixed with water and formed by human hands, endures as a symbol of continuity, each pot a unique testament to the melding of nature's raw materials with human ingenuity. Nearby, a group of weavers works quietly at a communal looms area, where spins of thread intertwine with the hum of soft conversation. In these looms, you notice motifs that have been repeated over generations, patterns that, despite the passage of time, remain intricately familiar. These textiles, dyed with colors derived from natural sources, speak not only of aesthetic appreciation, but also of a deep-rooted connection to the land and its offerings. One artisan, with a twinkle in his eye, casually remarks that the dye is prepared in a ritual that involves a secret ingredient, allegedly a pinch of a rare desert herb that is believed by some to be a restorer of youthful sleep. His offhand comment, whimsical and a little eccentric, is a testament to the craft's quirks, and you smile at the incongruity of such a modern jest in an ancient setting. While the gentle hum of community work fills the air, you drift toward a small workshop where a group of scribes sits under the soft glow of a midday sun filtering through an open window. Their task is to record village events and rituals on scrolls of delicate papyrus. Each stroke of the reed pen is a deliberate act, a melding of art, history, and tradition, where modern jokes about ink that never runs dry blend humor with reverence for the art of writing. One scribe, offering a half-smile in the warm light, mentions that sometimes the ink seems magically constant, a remark that gently nudges you to dismiss the modern world's skepticism and relish the enduring mystery of creative persistence. Historians still argue whether the techniques behind this playful preservation of knowledge were entirely innovative or divinely inspired, lending a quiet debate that flutters through the workshop like a whisper. The essence of communal living here is further revealed in the soft labor shared by farmers, tending small plots on the outskirts of the village. You can smell the earthy aroma of freshly turned soil, hear the low murmur of their collaborative efforts, and witness an interplay of human hands, simple tools, and a shared understanding of living in harmony with nature. Their work is both utilitarian and deeply ritualistic, echoing lifeways documented in ancient texts that affirm human ingenuity in the face of nature's vast mysteries. Amid calls and exchanges of subtle wit, one farmer jests that his plough is so ancient that it might still hold echoes of the king's command, a light quip that draws quiet laughter from his companions. This playful retort not only underscores the blending of past and present, but also reminds you of the timeless nature of such community bonds, where each labour is imbued with humour and tender respect for history. As you observe these communal tasks, a sensation of unity arises, a shared purpose that transcends the individual efforts. You realise that every person in the village contributes a small now to a grand, enduring chorus. Their tasks, whether it is the precise measuring of ingredients for a communal meal or the delicate shaping of a wooden artifact, are all integral facets of an intricate tradition. Even the simplest actions are celebrated, for they maintain the continuity of a way of life that has gracefully weathered the ceaseless march of time. The sound of laughter merging with the soft clink of a carved tool on stone, and the almost imperceptible murmur of heartfelt greetings, compose a lullaby that reassures and comforts you in the midst of these timeless endeavours. You find yourself entranced by the fluidity of these shared moments, a blend of modern asides and historical precision. In the quiet interludes, you notice that the repetitive motions of the tasks serve as a meditation, each movement synchronizing with the natural cadence of life around you. Perhaps it is this slow, deliberate rhythm that allows the villagers to maintain their ancient practices, unburdened by the haste of modern life. A brief smile escapes you as you recall a resident's cheeky remark that if one were to time every step of these routines, one might find that even the fabled Nile seems to slow its flow to match their pace. In a small corner where a weaving workshop meets a tool shed, you overhear another delightful exchange, a playful debate between an elder and a young apprentice about the origins of their craft. The elder confidently touts that the art of pottery was mastered with divine guidance long ago, while the apprentice retorts with modern irony that today's technology might just have replaced the magic of ancient skill. Their banter is not filled with the urgency of modern conflict, but rather drifts like a gentle breeze, acknowledging both reverence and irreverence in equal measure. Historians still argue whether such techniques were purely human innovation or touched by divine inspiration, a debate that adds a delightful layer of mystery and encourages the culture of questioning that unites all who have ever sought to understand the delicate dance of tradition and progress. Every moment in this section is a vivid reminder that history is not a dusty archive, but a living narrative stirred by the very hearts of those who keep it alive. As you immerse yourself in this quiet chorus of communal tasks, every shared smile, every subtle core, every murmured joke, you become more intimately connected with the fabric of village life, the mixing of tangible, everyday labour with whimsical modern observations creates a blend that is both comforting and curiously engaging. You see that the activities carried out here are more than mere work. They are acts of creative expression, gentle rituals that honour both the past and the present, and above all, silent promises that the village will continue to thrive through unity and shared care. In this profound continuum of everyday life, the ancient craftsmanship and modern asides coalesce into something that feels like a timeless lullaby. Each soft gesture and every muted chuckle resonates deeply, offering you a haven where modern worries seem to evaporate with the morning dew. The shared efforts, the subtle ironies, and the very essence of communal living weave together a narrative that cradles you gently, reminding you that even in the simplest tasks, there is a grandeur that sustains life. And as you stand there, enveloped by the tender ambiance of shared tradition, you feel a healing calm that speaks of enduring resilience and the soft, indefatigable spirit of humanity. You now find yourself drawn to the modest shrines and quietly sacred corners of the village, where the air carries a gentle incense of devotion mixed with the soft murmurs of ancient belief systems. In a small worship space tucked under the shelter of a sprawling palm, You join fellow villagers in voicing whispered prayers and engaging in reflective dialogue. Their voice is muted like the gentle rustle of papyrus in an ancient library. The sanctity of the moment is underscored by the delicate interplay of ritual and spontaneity, as everyone gathers in a space that is at once both solemn and subtly playful. A low, resonant hum of prayers fills the space, one that has been passed down through countless generations. You sense that each uttered prayer here carries the weight of millennia. It is a mainstream fact that Egyptian spiritual practice has long been interwoven with daily life. Deities were invoked not only for monumental events, but also for the humble tasks of everyday living. The surrounding walls, adorned with faded hieroglyphs and simple painted symbols, bear witness to a tradition where devotion was as common as the gentle unfolding of a new day. Amid these sacred sounds, you catch a stray note of modern irony when a wandering visitor remarks in a half-jest that even the village cows seem to have learned a prayer or two during their languid grazing sessions, an offhand observation that draws a quiet chuckle from those gathered, echoing the idea that even the most mundane aspects of life often carry hidden blessings. Within this sacred alcove, subtle celebrations of life and the divine slowly blend. The soft clinking of small prayer beads, the muted tap of sandals on cooled stone floors, and the earnest, almost imperceptible sighs of supplication form a gentle chorus that slowly enfolds you in its grace. You watch as a weathered priest, his robe a cascade of muted earth tones, carefully tends to a modest altar. Each movement is deliberate, from the gentle lighting of a simple oil lamp to the placement of a small bundle of dried lotus petals, a mainstay of ancient reverence. While the ritual is steeped in solemnity, the priest occasionally interjects with light-hearted modern asides, softly remarking that even the gods might appreciate a touch of humor in their eternal duties. His witty banter, balanced by the gravity of the prayers, adds an unexpectedly modern cadence to the timeless ritual. The interplay of solemn devotion and gentle wit brings to mind an ancient ritual where offerings were laid at the feet of revered deities. You recall that such practices date back even to the early dynasties, when the act of prayer was as much a part of everyday routine as a shared meal. In the quiet murmur of the gathering, you can almost hear the rhythmic cadence of the recitations blending with the soft cooing of doves perched in the rafters above. A curious detail invites your attention: a small, intricately carved amulet, reputed to have been blessed by a local priest, dangles from a worn leather cord. Its design is both an homage to ancient geomancy and a playful wink at the symbolism of protection, as some villagers quietly suggest that it might even ward off the misfortune of spilled dates during the harvest festival. Historians still argue whether these amulets were imbued with real metaphysical power or simply served as physical mementos of a cherished tradition, a debate as gentle as the breeze that sweeps through the shrine. In the midst of these quiet rites, you observe personal acts of devotion that both comfort and amuse. A young woman, seated on a simple woven mat, murmurs her prayers with eyes half closed and lips curved in a smile that speaks of inner peace. Her soft tone, rhythmic and almost musical in its repetition, seems to reassure you that here, in this sacred convergence of history and heart, every soul finds solace. Nearby, an elderly man, with his face marked by the lines of a life lived in quiet service, carefully adjusts his ceremonial headscarf. He gently taps his prayer beads in a ritual that has the precision of a well-rehearsed dance. Between measured recitations, he interjects with subtle modern commentary, an amused remark about how even his grandchildren at home would marvel at the vintage style of his devotion. His light-hearted approach infuses the ritual with both reverence and an ever-present undercurrent of gentle humor. In this gentle sphere of worship, you feel the pervasive calm begin to settle over you. The soft flame of the oil lamp trembles as if in quiet reflection, throwing tender shadows that mimic the ancient carvings on nearby walls. It is as if the very structure of the shrine itself, built from time-worn stone and tempered by endless prayers, offers you a personal invitation to release the weight of your daily cares. The interplay of light, sound, and gentle human presence creates a realm where the divine and the everyday coalesce, where each whispered invocation is both a request to the past and a soft, modern-day reminder that in the sanctuary, every soul is cradled by a continuity of faith and humor. As you linger in the cool, reverent hush of the shrine, you begin to notice the subtle textures around you, the smoothness of carved stone under your fingertips, the gentle fragrance of sandalwood smoke wafting through the air, and the distant, almost imperceptible toll of a bell echoing from another part of the village. This quiet symphony invites you to delve deeper, to let your thoughts wander among the delicate threads of spiritual tradition and the light-hearted chatter that occasionally breaks through the more solemn overtones. It's as if every aspect of the ritual, from the harmonious clinking of beads to the soft murmur of recited prayers, has been meticulously crafted to soothe your mind and ease you further into a dreamy state of reflective calm. Here, in this delicate balance of solemnity and quirk, you recognize the subtle play of contrasts. The space is full of reminders that history, though often shrouded in the gravitas of ritual, has always been a canvas for human expression in all its forms, serious, playful, and everything in between. You reflect on how these daily rituals, passed down through centuries, continue to provide not only a spiritual anchor for the villagers, but also a quiet, yet irreverent, commentary on life itself. Perhaps it is this dynamic that truly encapsulates the magic of the ancient Egyptian village, a magic that allows the sacred to be experienced with both awe and a gentle nod to the absurdities of modern existence. The contemplation of such a space, where every whispered prayer and every tender smile resonates with layers of tradition and unexpected humor, offers you the gift of deep, meditative reflection. The gentle cadence of the recitations, lightly punctuated with subtle modern asides, underscores that even in the realm of devotion, there exists an enduring openness to the playful nature of life. And as your mind absorbs the soft, undulating rhythms of this spiritual gathering, you feel your worries dissipate, replaced by an almost tangible sense of connection to the past, to the divine, and, curiously, to the joyful, mischievous spirit that infuses even the most pious moments. In this serene interplay of ritual and humor, you are reminded that while the sacred may be eternal, the human condition always invites a sparkle of the unexpected. Those lights that remind you that even in deep tradition, there is room for a soft, knowing chuckle. The balance of prayer and jest creates a space where every uttered word and every deliberate pause nourishes your weary soul, encouraging you to let go of the burdens of modern life and bask in the gentle, undisturbed lullaby of ancient spiritual practice. Here, under the watchful gaze of timeless deities and the quiet encouragement of human camaraderie, you are given a rare opportunity to simply be in a space where the present is both a continuation of and a playful departure from the sacred rites of bygone eras. You drift onward into a realm where the landscape speaks through crumbling walls and sun-baked dwellings that hold the weight of countless memories. The aged structures, their surfaces adorned with mottled earth and faded pigments, whisper as you pass, each stone and every cracked plaster, a relic of a time when lives were simpler, yet infinitely rich in detail. The dry heat of the midday sun casts long, delicate shadows over these weathered facades, and you can almost hear the soft murmur of ancient conversations carried on the breeze. It is as if the village itself has become a storyteller, recounting tales of bygone eras through the language of dust and decay. A once proud courtyard, now largely surrendered to the passage of time, comes into view with walls that have faded to hues of sandy beige and grey. Here, you feel the quiet pulse of history underfoot, a mainstream historical fact that these dwellings were built with brilliant craftsmanship, using locally sourced mud brick and limestone, renowned for their durability and simplicity. Yet, amidst the quiet dignity, subtle clues of a more whimsical past reveal themselves. A small nook by one of the walls is adorned with chipped, colourful tiles that seem out of place against the austere backdrop, quirky remnants from a time when even humble artisans allowed themselves a spark of creative rebellion. Some locals claim in half-serious tones that these tiles were meant to ward off misfortune, while others jest that they were the early experimentations of decorative art, centuries ahead of their time. Historians still argue whether these eccentric embellishments were purely functional, or simply the imprint of playful human spirit, leaving you with a delicious blend of certainty and wonder. You pace slowly along a crumbling pathway, surrounded by remnants of weathered door frames, shattered columns, and arches that once framed lively gatherings. Every step brings you closer to a deeper understanding of this place, a landscape where memory is inscribed in every fracture. The textures on the walls, roughened by years of sun, wind, and the gentle patina of rain, invite your fingertips to caress their time-worn surfaces. As you run your hand along a particularly rugged section, you sense an echo of past lives, a hard-earned imprint of hardship and hope that has softened with time. It is as if every scratch and every chip is a silent testament to human resilience and the artistry of everyday survival. A gentle breeze carries with it a precious hint of forgotten fragrances, an aroma of spices and sun-dried herbs that lingers in the air round an old, abandoned dwelling. The structure is partly collapsed, yet its remaining features evoke a sense of soulful grace. You notice a delicate carving on the weathered doorframe that hints at an ancient emblem, a symbol perhaps once revered for its promise of protection and renewal. The authenticity of such relics has been documented by scholars, who assert that, even in the simplest forms, art and symbolism held great power in everyday life. Meanwhile, an eccentric village tale persists, suggesting that the emblem was not merely a decorative motif, but also a secret signature of a long-lost artisan, whose identity remains shrouded in mystery, a fact that sparks gentle amusement amidst scholarly debate. As you continue, you encounter a cluster of ruins that seem to stand in quiet defiance of time. The sprawling remains of what might once have been a communal gathering hall now lie open to the sky. Its broad arched windows have long since surrendered their structure, yet in their emptiness, you detect an eloquent sense of space, a silent witness to a vibrant past filled with laughter, debate, and the harmonious clamour of community life. The broken roof beams, scattered like forgotten pencils, are arranged haphazardly in a manner that defies simple classification, but rather suggests a gentle and natural decay that invites contemplation. You smile as you recall a modern aside. Someone once joked that the beams could serve as a great natural art installation, if only the contemporary world would appreciate such humble beauty. In this airy open space, the interplay of shadows and light creates a scene of quiet poetry, filled with the textures of both present calm and long-past liveliness. Strolling further, you find yourself before a low wall decorated with a series of faded inscriptions. The delicate hieroglyphs, now softened by the kiss of time, speak quietly of royal decrees, daily invocations, and personal love letters etched by unknown hands. Their meanings, once vibrant and precise, now blur into an abstract composition of memory and myth. There is a mainstream scholarly agreement that such inscriptions served both public and private purposes, yet even as the academic consensus stands firm, there lingers the quirky possibility that some of these messages were written by a particularly impish scribe, perhaps leaving playful messages intended to be discovered centuries later. You pause to consider how even in messages of authority or edict, the light-hearted spirit of humanity found ways to embed cheeky humour into the fabric of officialdom. Historians still argue whether any of these inscriptions reveal the true intentions of their creators, or merely whisper enigmatic riddles meant to confound and delight future generations, a debate that enriches your journey with a touch of levity. The shifting texture of the earth beneath your feet remains a continuous reminder of the village's enduring duality, part memorial to vanished lives, part canvas for the ever-resilient creative spark. You come upon a modest structure, its walls partially crumbled yet still exuding an inviting warmth, as if calling to you for a momentary pause. The gentle glow of sunlight filtering through a partial roof reveals small details, a recently uncovered shard of coloured glass, a remnant of what might have once been a decorative window, and the intricate patterns formed by the interplay of shadows on the ancient mortar. The sight of these details elicits a playful aside in your mind, a quiet chuckle at the thought that such delicate remnants could be all that stands between a forgotten past and the current gentle narrative of human creativity. As you meander beneath an archway with fallen stones and cracked inscriptions, a subtle realization, Here, in this repository of dust and memory, you are not merely a traveller, but an active participant, your own presence seamlessly interwoven with the echoes of centuries past, the ancient walls, the sun-baked reliefs, and even the way the dust dances in the dry light around you, contribute to a living panorama that continues its slow, measured march through time. In one corner, a group of locals has come together to clean an old fragment of wall, their conversation punctuated by a blend of respectful nods toward tradition and quiet remarks that modern life is always a little too frenetic in comparison. They speak, with a humorous glint in their eyes, of how even stone seems to settle down when given enough time, an observation both literal and metaphorical, binding the textures of the physical world to the rhythms of human experience. You are gently reminded, as you linger amidst the decaying splendor of these ancestral testimonies, that each fragment holds a universe of stories within. The interplay of decay and endurance, modern light-hearted banter and solemn historical truth, creates an environment where contradictions harmonize, forging a delicate balance between what is now and what was long ago. A nearby inscription, partially eroded by the relentless passage of time, seems to invite playful reinterpretation. Did the scribe intend for it to be a poetic lament or a mischievous pun on the fickle nature of fortune? It matters little, for it is in these ambiguous spaces that the village reveals its most enchanting secrets. In a final whispered echo along the dusty path, your steps bring you to an old boundary marker, a simple stone slab bearing signs of both intentional carving and natural wear. Here, you pause, and in the stillness, you allow your mind to rest on the beauty of impermanence. The enduring presence of these ruins, the gentle interplay of shadow and minute, accidental patterns of decay, and the quiet acknowledgement of all that has been lost and yet somehow preserved, offer you a moment of profound connection. It is here, with the wind softly stirring the dust and the sun casting careful pearls of light upon the ancient textures, that you sense the ultimate reassurance that in memory, in decay, and in the unspoken poetry of the past, there is a sublime continuity that wraps around you like a familiar, ancient blanket. In this continuing dialogue with dust and memory, every worn carving and every crumbled edifice gently urges you to embrace the beauty of slow impermanence, a beauty that does not demand immediacy, but instead rewards thoughtful, deliberate presence. And as you stand there, amidst the soft murmurs of time, you realize that this encounter with history, even in its quiet decay, is a gentle reminder to cherish the enduring whispers of the past, even as they blend with the laughs and light-hearted debates of the present. You meander toward the soothing embrace of the river, a timeless ribbon of water that mirrors the endless sky and drifts past the village like a patient storyteller. Its gentle current flows with a deliberate grace, echoing the tranquil pulse of ancient rituals that have taken place along its banks for countless generations. As you approach the water's edge, the river's surface shimmers with the muted radiance of early afternoon light, every ripple a subtle reminder that life, no matter how ancient, is always changing, yet enduring. You watch as the gentle swish of the water caresses smooth pebbles on the riverbed, creating minuscule eddies that rotate slowly in a timeless dance. The river's reflective, almost meditative quality invites you to sit, to take a deep breath, and to become one with that quiet symphony of nature and history. Stepping closer, you feel the cool embrace of the water lightly tickling your feet, a refreshing contrast to the warmth of the midday sun overhead. The gentle lapping of the water against the bank intersperses with modern asides. You can almost hear a playful modern voice remarking, "Even the river's got its own pace. It never misses a beat," or a pun. The current gathers momentum as it meanders around a small outcrop of sun-worn rock, and you can't help but smile at the thought that even a river, continuously moving, yet never in a hurry, might be the world's most steadfast philosopher. A light joke floats through your mind. If this river were a person, it would probably insist it's the cool, laid-back uncle at every family reunion, dispensing age-old advice with a wink and a ripple. The banks of the river are lined with clusters of date palms and wild papyrus, their silhouettes dancing gently in the reflected light. Here, the mainstream historical fact is undeniable. This river was the lifeblood of an ancient civilization, its banks hosting rituals of both worship and everyday survival. You recall that the Nile, revered by ancient Egyptians, not only brought the gift of fertility and wealth to the land, but also served as an enduring symbol of cyclic renewal. Amid these venerable traditions lies a quirky detail. Local lore holds that on particularly still days, the river might quietly play host to an unexpected guest, a small, elusive fish, known among the locals as the mischievous merman, rumoured to appear in the ripple of a smile before darting away into the deep. Historians still argue whether such tales are rooted in real encounters, or simply the creative flourish of a community that loves making myths as enduring as its monuments. As you continue to absorb the river's gentle music, you notice the interplay of soft environmental sounds, the rhythmic rustle of palm fronds, the distant bird calls that punctuate the lull, and the soothing murmur of water sliding past ancient stones. The reflections in the water capture a patchwork of the village's history, a glimpse of mud brick homes, the faded colours of sun-bleached walls, and the occasional echo of a modern headlamp wink as someone passes by, perhaps marvelling at the timeless scene. There is an almost hypnotic quality in the way the water captures every detail, as if it were a silent archivist, dedicated to preserving both the overt and the obscure. You feel a nourishing calm, as if each ripple of water dispels a trace of modern anxiety, leaving behind an aura of relaxed continuity. Floating on the surface of the river, patches of delicate water lilies drift gracefully, their soft petals unfurling like the gentle cadence of a lullaby. You lean closer to the water, the cool, whispering current caressing your skin, and you marvel at how seamlessly nature's rhythms mix with the human narrative that has dotted these banks for centuries. A hand-painted rowboat in the distance, its paint slightly faded yet filled with character, drifts lazily near the shore, offering a visual reminder that even ancient modes of transportation carried a promise of adventure wrapped in serene routine. You chuckle softly to yourself as you remember the sardonic modern aside that if your own mode of transport were ever as dreamy and unhurried, you'd never be in a rush to arrive anywhere, just drifting along, lost in the beauty of a journey that needed no destination. The river is not merely a body of water, but a storyteller itself, a gentle chronicler of countless days spent in quiet reflection. Its ever-changing surface reflects the sky's moods and the soft silhouettes of palm fronds. Standing guard, you see evidence of age-old rituals, an old stone slab on the bank where villagers once gathered for communal prayers, and a modest altar partially covered by creeping vines, its weathered carvings humming with stories of devotion. Modern voices seem to mix with the ancient, a whispered modern irony, suggesting that perhaps the slab could use a little cleaning, as if even relics of the past deserve a bit of modern luxury now and then. Historians still argue whether such altars were intended purely for solemn ceremonies or also for the subtle exchange of village gossip, a debate that, much like the quiet heartbeat of the river, continues to ripple through time. You stand transfixed as a small boat, solitary and unhurried, drifts past like a thought in a daydream, its silhouette outlined by the soft haze of the afternoon. The boat's slow, deliberate movement reinforces a sense of calm, a quiet invitation to let go of your pretensions and simply enjoy the languid interplay of nature and history. The gentle current conveys not just water, but a relationship between moments finely balanced between past and present. A nearby fisherman, with a smile that hints at many untold stories, sits with his line cast lazily over the water's edge, occasionally adding a light-hearted remark about how the fish, too, prefer the laid-back rhythm of this ancient river. His playful banter, merging history with a subtle modern wit, reminds you that the river, composed of both ancient wisdom and contemporary simplicity, holds surprises that are as soft as they are enduring. In this tranquil setting, each ripple becomes a metaphor for the passage of time, a graceful unfolding of moments that glide steadily without haste. You appreciate the harmonious interplay of water and light, the soft surface that carries reflections of both storied antiquity and modern laughter. It is as if the river speaks directly to you, its gentle murmur a constant reminder that while the world outside might rush and roar, here in this quiet sanctuary you are invited to pause, float, and simply be. Even the occasional modern aside, a faint, almost conspiratorial chuckle, shared with a passing traveller, blends seamlessly with the ancient pulse that resonates in the soft current. As you stand in quiet communion with the water, you let your mind wander along the winding path of memories and modern quips alike. Every gentle splash, every soft distortion in the mirror-like surface, invites you to reflect on the timeless quality of nature and the delicate links between yesterday and today. Memories of the village's past echo here, mingling with the present in an endless convergence that both soothes and amuses. Between the interplay of historical solidity and contemporary humour, you realise that the river, much like the spirit of the village, is a lasting thread, a serene current that unites laughs with legends, seriousness with smiles, and the ancient with the refreshingly modern. Allow yourself this quiet moment, gently cradled by the persistent murmur of flowing water and soft, low chuckles in the background, as you drift along in reflective repose. Here in the embrace of the river's mellifluous flow, you are both a spectator and a participant, his soft reflections etching their gentle poetry into your soul as you continue onward, carried by the enduring, unsaid promises of the ancient water. You drift along a quiet lane adjacent to the river, where the village's more intimate secrets come forth in whispers amid the soft interplay of light and shadow. Here, you observe the artisans at work in humble studios and workshops that are almost hidden by the embrace of weathered walls and gently overgrown ivy. The air carries the faint aroma of natural pigments and freshly ground spices, a curious blend that both soothes you and sparks that playful reminder of how art and handiwork have long been the lifeblood of this ancient community. As you step carefully along the dusty path, it almost feels as if every footstep awakens the sleeping past, each stone a relic imbued with the subtle artistry of generations. Passing a small workshop set under a protective pergola, you notice a craftsman meticulously carving a piece of wood. The echo of his chisel against the sturdy surface creates a gentle derthum, a muted percussion that perfectly mirrors the measured heartbeat of the village. You lean closer, and the fine details of his work come into focus, a series of graceful curves and intricate patterns that evoke the timeless symbols of ancient mythology. It is a mainstream historical fact that the art of wood carving was revered in ancient Egypt, a craft that did not merely serve a utilitarian purpose, but also bore spiritual significance. The patterns he carves are steeped in tradition. Every flourish and curve seems to breathe with the secrets of deities and the quiet laughter of ages past. While you watch, the artisan pauses to wipe his brow, and with a wry, modern aside, he murmurs about how even centuries-old wood can be as unpredictable as modern technology, if only it could update its firmware. His light-hearted observation prompts a soft chuckle from a nearby onlooker, whose smile reveals that even in the time-honored world of craft, the subtleties of human humor persist. Historians still argue whether the spontaneous interludes of levity in these workshops were intentionally woven into the fabric of daily life or simply the natural scent of creative freedom, an argument that ripples gently along the current of conversation like a playful breeze. Not far from the woodcarver, your gaze is drawn to a group of artists gathered around a large, weather-beaten canvas that leans against an ancient wall. They are painting delicate scenes inspired by the life they observe, a serene mosaic of daily tasks, quiet rituals, and heartbeat moments that have accumulated over the years. Their brushes touch the surface with a melding of precision and improvisation, resulting in a work that is both an homage to tradition and a playful nod to the present. One painter, with a subtle smirk, jokes that if his art were any moodier, it might start reciting poetry in low, sleepy tones. His gentle humour, mingled with deliberate brushstrokes, transforms the canvas into a silent narrative where each colour holds a story, stories that evoke both historical grandeur and the soft, understated humour of lived experience. Nearby, an elderly woman sits cross-legged by an open window, her hands busy weaving a tapestry on a narrow loom. The patterned threads, spun with care and deliberate artistry, are arranged in a design that has been passed down through countless generations. Each thread interlaces with another in a dance that mirrors the intricate social fabric of the village. It's well known that weaving was an art cherished by ancient communities, where the creation of fabric was elevated from mere necessity to an act of soulful expression, As you watch, the woman pauses, glancing up with eyes that sparkle with mischief, and remarks in a hushed, conspiratorial tone that her yarn might have tangled itself into an entirely new pattern if it had ever been left alone. An idle comment that gently merges the realms of scholarly tradition and light-hearted modern banter. Historians still argue whether such techniques were divinely inspired or the outcome of pure, human persistence. But here, in the intricate dance of threads, you sense the enduring memory of both nature's randomness and art's exquisite order. The vibrant interplay of these creative expressions fills the space, transforming the narrow lane into a gallery of whispered memories and tangible dreams. You glide past a small stall where a potter is at work, his hands moist against the cool, damp clay as he shapes a new vessel with a slow, careful sweep of his sturdy tools. The vessel takes form gradually, and you see that every curve and gentle indentation hints at the dual legacy of utility and beauty that has defined pottery since time immemorial. Such crafts were not mere artifacts, but manifestations of an ancient dialogue between humanity and the earth, an interaction framed by both necessity and the sheer delight of creation. The potter, pausing briefly to admire his work yet again, jests that even if his clay were to whisper secrets to him, it would probably confess that it really enjoys the attention of his skilled hands. This subtle interplay of reverence and humour invites you to reflect on how modern sensibilities can find kinship with practices etched through millennia. In the warm glow of the afternoon, you continue along this picturesque lane where every doorway and every ancient archway seems to cradle a quiet vignette of village history. The interplay of subtle details, a chipped fragment of a mosaic, a faded inscription barely legible on a sun-baked wall, paints a portrait of enduring lives that have both honoured traditions and embraced the transient charm of spontaneous modern remarks. Standing before an old, vine-clad doorway, you notice a peculiar inscription that appears to be both an earnest decree and a tongue-in-cheek note, possibly penned by a mischievous artisan. It reads like a message meant for those who appreciate the gentle irony of history. Even the mightiest empires must occasionally laugh at their own grandeur. You smile at the thought, and as you press your hand to the cool stone, you feel as though you are bridging the gap between eras, a connection that whispers that time itself is a canvas for both solemn pursuits and delicate jokes. The artistry of the village does not merely reside in grand monuments or sweeping narratives, but thrives in the minute details of everyday applications. At a quiet corner, tucked behind a faded storefront, you find a modest display of handcrafted jewellery. Each piece is fashioned with a delicate precision that elevates it from a simple ornament to a cherished story, a blend of semi-precious stones, intricate filigree, and subtle motifs inspired by the gods. One particular pendant, shaped like a small scarab, catches your eye. Its design is both historically accurate, echoing a tradition as old as records can recall, and quirky with a modern twist. The artisan humorously noted that it doubles as a pocket charm to ward off bad Wi-Fi signals in this digital age. Historians still argue whether such accessories possess true mystical power, or were merely fashionable tokens of an era that balanced spirituality with light-hearted whimsy. Either way, the pendant's soft gleam and gentle curves assure you that art in this village is both a mirror and a mediator, a medium that reflects the timeless interplay of culture, nature, and modern musings. As the afternoon sun begins its graceful descent, the creative energy in this lane seems to pulse with a quiet vibrancy, a rhythm that stitches together moments of intense focus with soft, wandering laughter. The convergence of artistry and daily life unfolds all around you. A careful stroke on a canvas here, the measured tap of a chisel on stone there, each contributing to a cumulative narrative that is tenderly alive in every whispered brush, every silent giggle. You are gradually enveloped by the comforting realization that the village is more than just a relic of the past. It is a living, breathing testament to an eternal artistry that transcends time, a gentle celebration of the human capacity to mix solemn reverence with a spark of modern hilarity. Every artisan you encounter, every remark delivered with a soft modern wit, reinforces that tradition and innovation are not opposing forces, but rather two harmonious strands woven through the tapestry of life. In this unfolding panorama of craft and creativity, you discover that the tangible expressions of art here are not merely relics, but acts of living memory, resonating softly with the echoic, both ancient intellects and modern souls. You feel a swell of appreciation for how these acts, even the most minute ones, carry an understated significance, a quiet humor, and a profound reverence for what has been and what is yet to come. It is as though the way the artisans work, blend, and jest is a subtle reminder that beauty is found in both the carefully planned and the untouched spontaneity of existence. Truth that echoes through every meticulously crafted object and every light-hearted modern aside. You continue down this lane with eyes that drink in every detail and a heart that acknowledges the tender union of art and life. Along the way, you find yourself imagining that the soft sounds of creative labor and the faint laughter of those sharing modern observations are the very essence of the village's soul, a soul that invites you to linger, reflect, and embrace the slow, deliberate rhythms that have guided humanity across the sands of time. You continue your gentle journey and find yourself drawn to a modest gathering spot, a small courtyard where groups of villagers, as if by some unspoken invitation, have come together in quiet companionship to engage in debates and discussions that traverse the spectrum of ancient relics and evolving traditions. Under the warm, dappled light filtering through the leaves of an old acacia, people gather in clusters, their voices low and warm, each contributing to a softly spirited interchange of ideas that seems as deliberate and measured as the ticking of an ancient hourglass. Ambling into this space, you can sense an undercurrent of friendly rivalry, the type that inspires both reflection and a gentle smile. A weathered stone bench serves as the centerpiece around which these conversations gently coalesce. It is here that a particularly animated group, composed of elders and younger folk alike, has taken up residence. Their discussions flow seamlessly between reverence for age-old customs and the spark of modern curiosity, a delicate balance between tradition and the question of what really lies beneath the surface of these relics. As you settle into the embrace of this congenial atmosphere, you overhear a soft yet impassioned discussion about a relic recently unearthed from near the village's ancient burial grounds. A beautifully crafted, albeit slightly disoriented, amulet whose intricate design has sparked many a debate. One elder, his voice resonant with the cadence of history, explains that such amulets were believed to harness the blessings of the divine, channeling a protective power that safeguarded their bearers against the unseen forces of the world, as documented in the venerable scrolls of old. His words evoke a mainstream historical fact. These artifacts have been studied for decades, regarded by scholars as windows into the everyday spirituality that once animated ancient community life. Within the group, a younger voice interjects with a modern twist, joking that the relic is so intricately carved that it could very well be the precursor to today's smartphone designs, minus the incessant buzzing of notifications, of course. This playful remark, delivered with a soft lilt, earns a warm chuckle from the assembled crowd. You note the delightful blend of humor and respect, a reminder that specific vestiges of antiquity, while steeped in myth and sacred possibility, can also serve as a canvas for the light-hearted comparisons that bridge centuries. A quirky tidbit drifts into the conversation. One local claims that this very amulet once mysteriously changed its form during a full moon, as if it were mirroring the unpredictable nature of human creativity. Historians still argue whether such transformations are rooted in genuine ancient practices or merely the fanciful musings of a mindset adrift in legend. As the debate flows, the conversation shifts from the physical form of relics to the broader traditions that give them life. A soft-spoken woman, whose eyes glisten with the recollections of familial lore, recounts the method by which these relics were often passed down through generations. She describes, in poetic detail, the careful rituals that accompanied each transfer, a mainstream historical practice underpinning the continuity of heritage. With her words, you feel the warm reverence for an age when every object, no matter how small, was imbued with personal significance and communal identity. Yet, not all agree on this point. A young scholar among the group, with an impish grin, suggests that perhaps some of these relics were used in social games, a cultural pastime designed to provoke admiration and friendly teasing among peers. Much like a modern contest of wit, his modern asides gently ripple through the conversation, coaxing out smiles from those who appreciate the idea that tradition is a tapestry woven both with solemn threads and with playful yarn. In the heart of the courtyard, the debate takes on a lyrical quality as the soft voices interlace, each sentence another stitch in the fabric of shared memory. The gentle cadence of the discussion is punctuated by pauses where thoughtful silence speaks as loudly as words. In one such moment, an elder remarks, "It is often said that relics such as these hold not just our past, but our hopes for the future, each artifact a silent messenger of our enduring spirit." This statement, both dignified and quietly profound, resonates deeply with you, framing the scene in a light that is both melancholic and comforting. You feel the subtle interplay between certainty and mystery, as if the relic itself might reveal secrets in its next quiet flicker under the afternoon sun. At another corner of the crowd, a group huddles around a time-worn bulletin board, its surface adorned with softly faded sketches and inscriptions that recount various legends of the village. They speak in hushed tones about a disputed inscription, a curious carving whose meaning has been lost to time, yet persists as a riddle meant for those who dare to ponder its echo. One of the discussants tosses in a cheeky modern observation that the inscription might even be decoded using today's smartphones, provided one can locate a Wi-Fi signal strong enough in this ancient haven. The light humor that follows is as understated as the rest of the day's rhythm, a nod to the shared human propensity to seek humor in mystery and to find delight in the convergence of eras. Historians still argue whether these inscriptions are the product of deliberate design or spontaneous artistry born of the artisan's whimsy, an eternal debate that weaves itself into the fabric of the discussion, like an uninvited but welcome guest. As you continue to absorb these layered conversations, you notice that each voice in the group, regardless of age or station, contributes uniquely. Some speak with the measured authority of those who have witnessed the slow march of time. Others consult ancient texts with a curious blend of academic precision and playful irony. The atmosphere is charged with a delicate energy, not the frenetic buzz of modern debate, but the soft, deliberate murmur of minds in gentle dialogue. This is a sanctuary of intellectual engagement, where the relics of the past serve as catalysts for present-day musings, merging historical fact with personal myth in a way that comforts and intrigues. In a particularly tender moment, you hear a discussion about the village's long-standing legend of a secret meeting place, where ancient scholars purportedly gathered to debate the mysteries of the cosmos. One speaker, in a voice that trembles between reverence and a faint, amused disbelief, recounts a local tale claiming that such meetings were so imbued with wisdom that even the humble winds changed course in deference to the sage's words. This anecdote, both captivating and amusing, serves as another thread in the rich tapestry of village lore. The scholarly tone is softened by a gentle modern quip about how even if the winds did listen, they might still prefer the quiet hum of an air conditioner these days. The interplay of myth and modernity, of venerable wisdom and light jest, fills the space with an ineffable warmth, a reminder that even age-old debates are not immune to the sweetness of human laughter. You find yourself drifting through this ensemble of voices, each narrative a soft echo of the past, intertwined with a tender hint of the present. The courtyard becomes a living stage where each word, each pause, and each slight chuckle contributes to a narrative that transcends time. Every disputed relic, every contested tradition, becomes not a source of discord, but a gentle opportunity for shared reflection, a quiet union of minds that celebrate both what is known and that which remains a mystery. Through this mingling of confidences, you sense that the debates are not meant to provoke, but to enrich the soul with a deep respect for continuity and a light-hearted embrace of the unknown. As you linger among these thoughtful voices, the soft cadence of their discussion carries you deeper into the fabric of the village's collective identity. Every gentle debate, every subtle hint of irony, infuses the space with a quiet determination to preserve the past, not as a static relic, but as a living, breathing dialogue, a serene interplay of fact, myth, and irreverent humor that allows space for both questioning and understanding. The soft reverberations of this gathering, as they float through the warm afternoon, become a gentle reminder that the pursuit of understanding is a timeless endeavor, one that, like the village itself, rests comfortably between the weight of history and the playful ease of modern thought. In this soft cauldron of whispered scholarly debate and modern jests, you find an enduring echo, the timeless union of knowledge and laughter that gently coaxes you further along your journey. With each nuance of conversation, the village reveals to you that its most cherished secrets are those shared in moments of serene dialogue, cherished not for the absolute truths they might contain, but for the gentle undercurrent of communal spirit and ever-welcoming camaraderie. You now find yourself ushered into the gentle embrace of twilight, where the soft glow of dusk transforms the village into a quiet sanctuary of measured evening rites. The rising chill of the evening air gently mingles with the lingering warmth of the day's sun, and you witness a natural metamorphosis, the ritualistic magic of transition from day to night. The village, ever alive with tradition, slowly adopts a muted palette as shadows stretch long over ancient pathways, leaving behind a soft and deliberate interplay of light and mystery. As you stroll along a central lane, the once busy market now retreats into a tender quiet, and you notice small groups gathering in intimate clusters. Here, under the fading brilliance of the sky, villagers perform their twilight routines with an unhurried grace. The soft, rhythmic movements of ritual, such as the lighting of slender oil lamps and the careful closing of weathered shutters, evoke a legacy as ancient as the stars gradually appearing overhead. It is a mainstream historical fact that the tranquil rituals of evening worship were central to the spiritual lives of ancient Egyptians, a practice that has endured through centuries, softly echoing in the quiet acts of village life. In one small courtyard, you witness a modest group assembling for a collective prayer. Their voices, low and resonant, blend seamlessly with the natural chorus of chirping crickets and the soft rustling of palm fronds. A venerable elder, his face lined with the gentle traces of age and wisdom, leads the group with careful, measured intonations. His recitation, though steeped in solemnity, is punctuated by unexpected modern asides. He pauses with a knowing chuckle and remarks that the flickering lamps seem to have taken a cue from modern dimmer switches. If only the gods had such technology, perhaps the night would be even cozier for all. Such playful interludes invite a gentle laughter that is both comforting and affirming, a delightful reminder of how even the most sacred of moments can embrace a subtle human irony. Nearby, you hear the soft clink of ceramic coffee cups as a small family gathers to share a light refreshment. Their modest meal, composed of dates, flatbreads, and a cooling herbal infusion, celebrates the simple pleasures of existence. The aroma of the infused herbs mingles with the twilight air, offering a sensory experience that transports you back to a time when every meal was both nourishment and a ritual of communal bonding. A young member of the family teases in a half-whisper that the herbal brew might just be the secret to enduring the long Egyptian summer, an understated modern jest that harmonizes seamlessly with the textures of ancient custom. Historians still argue whether such culinary traditions were inspired by divine prescription or the natural bounty of the land. Yet the quiet debate only adds to the warm intimacy of the scene. The soft interplay of ritual and modern whispers continues as you cross a narrow, lantern-lit alley where a lone musician plays a traditional string instrument. The gentle melody floats through the cool air, each note a delicate thread woven into the fabric of a day's final moments. His music, an ode to the enduring spirit of Egyptian folklore, carries within it stories of love, loss, joy, and the tender resilience of human life. You can almost see the ancient tales unfolding in the subtle rise and fall of his tune, a reminder that art is, indeed, a timeless conversation between the past and the present. As he turns the instrument slightly towards his ear, a soft quip escapes him about how even the strings might be jealous of modern headphones, eliciting a quiet ripple of amusement from a passing listener. Wandering past this soulful serenade, you encounter a small assembly near a humble temple facade, where a ritual procession has begun. Villagers, adorned in simple garments that mirror the muted tones of the dusk, move in a slow, deliberate cadence that matches the heartbeat of the approaching night. Their path, lit by the subtle gleam of oil lamps, carries you further into a space where solemn rituals and playful modern banter coexist. Amid the procession, a participant with a light smile remarks that the ancient art of procession walking could inspire a modern mindfulness app, an offhand modern musing that captures the gentle absurdity of finding new life in ancient practices. Historians still argue whether the choreography of these processions is the orchestrated result of sacred duty or the serendipitous product of communal habit, a debate that lingers in the cool air like a delightful enigma. As you move along with the procession, you notice that every gesture, every careful step, seems imbued with a deep, reflective calm. The villagers' movements, practiced over countless evenings, have become a ritual of letting go, a soft farewell to the day that has seen tales of old and moments of modern whimsy. You observe how the rhythmic cadence of the procession, though steeped in ancient tradition, carries hints of improvisation, a gentle sway here, a shared smile there, and an occasional collective chuckle about the irony of centuries-old routines that now just feel wonderfully relaxing. The sight is both heartwarming and thought-provoking, a subtle reminder that time itself, regardless of the era, can never outpace the human penchant for finding laughter in the sacred. In one final station along the path, you are drawn to a secluded nook where a quiet ritual remains unspoken, yet profoundly felt. Here, single lanterns flicker against the indigo backdrop of a coming night, casting long, tender shadows that seem to write their own poems on the dusty ground. The soft glow of these lanterns and the murmured prayers from clustered villagers create an atmosphere that gradually absorbs all the day's lingering energies. You take a moment to pause, your heart aligning with the gentle pulse of the ritual, a pulse that remains constant, bridging the age-old with the new. The ritual is simple, yet its emotional resonance is vast, a testament to the enduring human spirit that finds comfort in both stability and subtle change. Moving further into the twilight, you catch snippets of conversation that meld scholarly debate with casual modern musings. A scholar among the group lightly asserts that the exact timing of these twilight rites may have been divinely orchestrated, while another softly counters with a remark about how modern smartphones might have disrupted such a precise ritual if only their notifications were as calming as the evening chime. These low-key debates, as unhurried as the passing dusk, weave a gentle tapestry of fact, myth, and light-hearted modernity into the very air you breathe. As this evening ritual draws towards its soft conclusion, you feel the boundaries between past and present blur into a singular, tender flow of time. The final steps of the procession merge into a collective pause, a moment where every heart beats in a shared rhythm and every echo of laughter, every murmur of prayer softly intertwines with the fading light. In that final reverent pause, the village itself seems to exhale gently, wrapping you in an embrace that hints at promises of tomorrow while acknowledging the beauty of every final moment of today. Now, as the twilight deepens and your journey through the day's lingering memories draws to a soft close, your mind drifts toward a state of calm introspection. The gentle hum of the village fades into a tender murmur like a lullaby meant only for you, steadily guiding you into a realm of quiet dreams and serene reflections. Behind you, the delicate dance of ancient traditions and modern asides lingers like a soft caress on your heart, inviting you to surrender to the peaceful embrace of night. Every whispered prayer, every echoed chuckle from earlier hours resonates like a faint, comforting tune that slowly slows your pace and eases your thoughts. In this quiet interlude, you feel the quiet assurance that the beauty of the past, entwined with the playful simplicity of modern humor, has gently sculpted a refuge for your weary soul. The soft gleam of the final lanterns casts tender shadows that wane into the silence, merging with the subtle glow of imagined stars high above. It's a moment of profound tenderness, a timeless pause that invites you to let go of the everyday rush and simply immerse in the tranquility of now. Every breath you take reiterates the calm, every slow blink a gentle acceptance of the unfolding night. Let the soft cadence of your heart mirror the peaceful rhythm of this ancient village, where history and contemporary whispers merge as one, assuring you that rest and renewal await in the night's soft silence. In this final quiet, let your mind wander freely, embraced by the gentle cadence of remembered tales and unspoken dreams. Surrender to the serene promise that tomorrow, like every day in this timeless sanctuary, will gently greet you with new hues of hope and tender light.